Okay, picking up on Tom's weight loss journey, part four. When we ended part three, I had left Huggins Hospital in Wolfboro. Got to take my second ambulance ride of my life and come down here to Rochester Manor Rehab Facility in Rochester. Um, got down here on a Thursday evening. Um, I'll skip a bunch of the details, but the big one is within a half hour of being here, they asked me, "Do you want rails on the bed?" The flip up safety rails. And I said, "Absolutely." I said, "I'm here because of extreme weakness, quite a bit of dizziness, and I'm a fall risk. So, yes, definitely." "Well, it's after 5, so maintenance won't be back till tomorrow." I said, "No problem. For one night, I'll just lay very still in the middle of the bed and not put myself in any risk." Friday comes. "How are we doing on bed rails?" "Well, we're not going to put them on yet because we think you're getting a new bed. They ordered you a bigger bed, what they call a bariatric bed." I said, "Okay, what time is it getting here?" "Well, we don't know that." Okay. We get on towards 5 o'clock that day, and I ask again, "What's going on? Because if we're not doing the new bed, we need to do the rails." "Well, nobody knows. Nobody can figure it out. Whatever." Okay. Saturday comes. Actual repeat of Friday. Same thing. Nobody knows when it's coming. Nobody has an answer on it. And nobody knows anything about putting rails on my bed. Sunday morning comes, and I'm in the process of basically getting a sponge bath. And I roll onto my left side, which I had done plenty of times here before. Never a problem. This time, my dizziness and weakness kicks in, and I go off the far side of the bed. Now, of course, we had the bed at its highest setting because it's easier for the people to work on you, so they're not killing their backs bending way over. Um, so out of bed I go, and I landed on the steel legs of an IV cart. Um, didn't go well. They called 911. Um, had a bit of an issue with one of the ladies involved because she refused to move me off my ribs. Or touch me at all until 911 got there. I gave her a few choice words and moved myself. Um, Took my third ambulance ride of my life just down the road here to Frisbee Hospital. Um, Got into the hospital ER room at 10:07 in the morning. Um, Went for a CAT scan. Uh, Guy says, "Yeah, you have a few broken ribs." I said, "Well, how many are in a few?" He said, "4." Um, and he said the other concern was there was some blood around my kidney and some air around it on a small spot on my lungs. I said, "Okay, this doesn't sound good." Um, they thought about sending me to Portsmouth, and he video conferenced back and forth with the on-call doctor in Portsmouth. And by the time they got all that done, I had been there. It had been like 5 hours since the original CAT scan. They had me go for a second CAT scan, and basically nothing had gotten any worse or anything with the blood in the air. And they double checked to make sure it was only 4 broken ribs. So that was that. Um, at that point, I got out of the hospital for my fourth ambulance ride in a week, actually in 3, 4 days. Um, got back here to the facility, and as they rolled me in the door of my room, I was quite vocal about how impressed I was that somehow during the time I was in the emergency room, they had managed to put rails on my damn bed. Um, the other nice part of that is no one ever bothered to call my wife and tell her what had happened. Had I not texted her from the emergency room, she never even would have known. So, again, not a great situation. Hi.
Okay to come in for a minute?
Yep,
How are
absolutely.
you doing, honey?
Huh?
How are you doing?
Good. Okay, sorry about that. Had to get vitals checked. Um, so anyway, that was Sunday's fiasco. That Monday, I began working with physical therapy. They have been great. Quite honestly, I came into this with so many fears of all the incidents and falls and injuries and everything else, that just digging through my own head was going to be a battle. And they have been very patient. We've had a couple sit down, come to Jesus moments where I've expressed, we need to do things a little differently. They've been amicable with that, and things have gone pretty well. We began doing just basic movements and things like that. They were still mechanical lifting me into the wheelchair, and we built up to where they would worked on getting me into a walker. And with the walker, I think the first day we did the walker, I did about 60 feet. The second, and that we only stopped there because we ran out of room. The next day, we started out in my room, and I walked all the way to physical therapy, which was 127 feet, so more than double on day 2. Day 3, we did the same thing, but kept going once we got to the room for 160 feet. In the midst of all that, they have what they call a recumbent stepper, which has kind of like feet like a bicycle and a couple of bars that you hold onto with your arms that go back and forth. I believe there may have been one day that I didn't when I was slacking, but I believe I have broken my own personal best on that machine every single day. Today, Monday the 27th, my goal has been to do 3 miles in 20 minutes. And I've come up at like 2.97 today, due to another incident recently that I'll get into later. I was in a pretty bad mood and did 3.44 miles in 20 minutes at the highest power setting I've done on that machine yet. So a good productive day today. From there, we began working on, they felt pretty comfortable that I was doing okay when I was up and walking around. The problems I'm having still are standing up. We've worked on that at length. It's gotten better and better. It's very weird because it's like my muscles and my legs don't remember, and my brain doesn't remember how to tell them what to do. It's very bizarre. What happens is I usually get about 3/4 of the way up and just don't have any more to give. At which point they give a little tug, on my shorts or on a gait belt that goes around your chest that you wear, and I pop right up the rest of the way. So we're gaining on that. It's been a little rough. This past Saturday, I had another incident where basically because of all the progress I've made with physical therapy, they decided to upgrade my condition so that I didn't have to use the mechanical lifts anymore. I just needed the walker and 2 people to spot me and help. Had an incident Saturday with an employee here where came in the door, just, I don't know if we took her away from something that she felt was more important or what, just a chip on her shoulder and a bad attitude. And that led to, basically telling me everything I had been doing with physical therapy was wrong and all this. And I pointed out, the fact that due to this place, I was dealing with 4 broken ribs and a pinched nerve in my arm, and that we had to make some consolations for me to be able to do any of it. So this is how we're doing it. And again, the second girl that was in here I've dealt with plenty of times. She's great. She's wonderful. Takes good care of me. Very pleasant. But this other girl was just can't even comprehend the level of attitude. In the process of doing that, went to do the stand-up. Because she was so dead set against the whole thing, she offered no help, and I fell all the way to the floor again. At that point, I got pissed. And as I said, when I am afraid, which I have been countless times through this whole ordeal, I get emotional, I get teary, and it's not good, and it sets me back. This time I was just plain pissed, because if quite to put it mildly, if this bitch had done her job right in the first place, it wouldn't have been an issue. All she had to do at any point was say, I don't feel comfortable doing this for your own safety. And I would have said, fine, then let's not do it. But no, Instead, just was so worried about being right that it just wasn't going to happen. Um, Fortunately, no injuries or anything. Kind of slid myself to the ground. Still very frustrating. But it is what it is. Didn't get hurt, so just looking to move on. Got up this morning, um, and after explaining what had happened to physical therapy, they said, well, let's prove them wrong. So we uh, went down to the gym. I did, again, because being pissed off fuels my motivation like nothing. I did full double sets of all my leg workouts with the heaviest leg weights to date. After that, we got up from the wheelchair to the walker, walked the length of the building, sat on this adjustable height table they have, um, got up and down from that 3 times. On the third time, took the walker back the length of the building to the staircase that they have you practice on, and it has 4.5-inch and 6-inch steps on it. Went up the 4.5s, turned, came back down, did it a second time, came back down, sat down for a minute, got up from the wheelchair again with just, the tiniest little boost from them, walked up the 4.5s, walked down the 6s. By then I was getting kind of spent, so sat down for another minute, got up from the wheelchair again and climbed up the 6s and walked down the 4s. At that point I was getting a little wobbly, pretty worn out, weak legs. So they put me back in the wheelchair and they said, you look pretty spent. Are you done? And again, because I'm just still so pissed about this, I said, no, I'm not done. I want my damn cardio. So they brought me over to the recumbent bike, and I broke my biggest record to date. So got that done, and now I'm back here in the room. That's pretty much where we're at the end of part 4. Going forward, I'll update, every so often when there's significant progress or any situations that arise. Again, I cannot put into words how much I appreciate all the support that I've received from everybody. My wife, my friends, my family, my coworkers, everybody. Wouldn't be here without it. So thank you all.